Hey, how's it going? Gareth James here for MTTPokerschool.com. Back today with the fifth and final part of my live play analysis series from the first Sunday of Scoop. Now, before I get back into the action, I just wanted to let you know that next week, in my next video, I'm going to have a very special guest on. We're going to be discussing their deep run in the 10K Scoop main event. So if you think you know who that might be, then let me know in the comments down below, and then make sure you come back next week to check out that video. All right, let's get back into the action. Okay, we check back then with 10-7. Blind versus blind, and just decide to bet, and he folds. I think there's too much to talk about there. King 10 off. Again, we don't have a spade in our hands. In our hand, so yeah, we should probably just give up multi-way in this spot. Okay, pocket tens then, top right. We can 3-bet here, but flatting seems okay as well. King 10 off, top left, we're just going to fold. So flop comes 8-7-3. This is the kind of board I expect my opponent to use a big bet, I think, a decent amount of the time. So, you know, whilst we don't have any straights on this board, you know, there's no straights possible. It's just pretty tough for our opponents to have connected when they have a high card heavy range. We're going to have some two pairs, 8-7 off, 8-7 suited. We're going to have 8-3 suited, 7-3 suited. We're going to have 8-7s and 3s. So yeah, we have a decent number of strong hands here. So yeah, he goes ahead and bets small, 31% pot, and I think this is the kind of sizing that you take if you on these low boards, if you just believe that your opponents are never going to play back at you aggressively enough. So in game, I think I actually chose to raise here, and it'd be good to check this in Pio, because I want to sort of exploit the fact that he's choosing the wrong sizing, I think, and we'll check in Pio if that's the case. But yeah, choosing the wrong sizing for this situation when his value hands want to put a lot of money in, because it's not like I'm folding a straight draw or a flush draw or an 8 or maybe even a 7. If he bets big, right? So he should just put lots of money in with his value hands. So I think it's just unlikely that he, has a value hand and is just stabbing, hoping that I fold my, hands that can't continue. So go for a check raise here, and yeah, I think it'd be good again to see in Pio whether this is what we want to do, or whether or not, because his range still has some strong hands. Like if he's betting this sizing with his overpairs, then that's not great for us. You can see his c-bet percentage there was 10 out of 10 in position c-betting, but again, there's a lot of boards where he should be c-betting very frequently, EP versus big blind, so don't read too much into that. Bottom right, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think we c-bet flop, and you can probably mix the turn between check and bet. And then top right, we decide to bet. Looks like we're going with our hand. I mean, yeah, I think this is a pretty awkward spot, because if he does jam, jacks, queens, kings, aces, definitely part of his range. He's probably, what bluffs is he really going with? Like ace 4 of spades, ace 5 of spades, maybe, but I really can't see it. So yeah, it's not a good situation for us going against a strong range. So I think that's going to point us towards not playing the hand as aggressively. But I think in game, what is making me play more aggressively is his sizing, because I think it's incorrect. But let's have a look in Pio and see if all of that, any of that is true. Maybe there are some assumptions of mine that are incorrect. So let's check. Okay, so again, 8-7-3 board. I've given him a big size and a small size and a check, and you can see that it hardly ever uses the small sizing, right? So it just wants to go for this big size. If it is bet big, we call with tens most of the time, do a little bit of raising. But if he does bet small, we do a lot more raising with pocket tens. So I think that's somewhat reasonable for us to do. But as you can see, like, it's only 5%, and is what Pio's suggesting here what he's actually doing? Like, is he betting 5% of his range here for this small sizing? I think that's really, really unrealistic and unlikely. So I ran the spot again for just a small size on this board, and you can see now he can just go ahead and bet this small size. But there's no option to bet big, right? So that's why it's just betting very frequently in this spot. And now you can see pocket tens actually raises less than it did if it was facing a big bet. So I think that if he is just range betting this board because, you know, he doesn't believe that I'm going to be playing aggressively on it, then, or aggressively enough, then actually we should still just continue. Because again, I talked about this in earlier on in the series, that by raising and him calling, we're strengthening his range, right? Whereas, you know, right now tens is doing pretty well against his bet. You know, we have 65-ish% equity, which is fantastic. But as soon as we, you know, raise and he calls, you know, that equity's starting to drop, right? It's now down to 62%. So we're going to be up against, you know, strong draws. We're going to be up against overpairs, and I don't think any of those hands are going to fold on the turn. So yeah, I really don't like this adjustment. I think it's great to see it. So two things I think that we've, you know, confirmed. The first one is that he shouldn't be using a small sizing here. He should be going big with, you know, a lot of hands. If he does go small though, we can actually just go ahead and call, and we have some other hands that we want to raise. You know, you've got your two pairs, your sets. You've got some, you know, some draws that you want to raise, and 9-6, 10-9, stuff like that. And then, you know, if we do ever have queens, we can raise that because it's, you know, there's now jacks, tens, and nines that we get value from. And similarly, jacks raises a bit more frequently because we get value from tens and nines, and maybe some, you know, ace-8 and some draws as well. So I think it's pretty interesting, and yeah, something to definitely learn from. Okay, I think we're coming to the end of the footage here. You can see bottom left's already gone for a break. So I'm going to wrap things up there. Hope you enjoyed this series. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you've got any comments or feedback, leave them in the comments down below. My name is Gareth James for MTT Poker School. Until next time, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.